A new ocean is forming in Africa. A geological marvel is unfolding, so let me explain. The East African Rift System is a truly colossal feature, stretching over 6,000 kilometers from the Red Sea in the north to Mozambique in the south. It is a defining feature of the African landscape, a testament to the immense forces at work beneath our feet. The rift is not a single crack, but a series of valleys and volcanoes, some active, some dormant, all evidence of the tectonic turmoil that created them. The most famous of these is Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest peak, a dormant volcano standing as a sentinel over the plains. As the plates continue to move, the rift widens at a rate of a few millimeters per year. It may seem insignificant, but over millions of years, this incremental movement adds up, gradually tearing the continent apart. The process is not smooth or uniform. The rift is punctuated by periods of intense activity, marked by earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, and times of relative calm. But the overall trend is clear: Africa is slowly but surely being pulled apart. To understand the formation of a new ocean in Africa, we need to delve into the Earth's internal workings, to the theory of plate tectonics. This theory, revolutionary when it was first proposed, explains how the Earth's outer layer, the lithosphere, is broken into several large plates that are in constant motion. These plates float on a layer of semi-molten rock, the asthenosphere. The heat from the Earth's core creates convection currents in the asthenosphere, which in turn drive the movement of the plates. The East African Rift is a classic example of a divergent plate boundary, where two plates are moving apart. In this case, the Nubian plate, which encompasses most of Africa, is separating from the Somali plate, which carries the Horn of Africa. As these plates pull away from each other, the crust thins and stretches, creating faults and fractures. Magma, molten rock from the Earth's mantle, rises up through these weaknesses, erupting onto the surface as volcanoes. Over time, as the rift widens and deepens, it will eventually be flooded by seawater, forming a new ocean basin. The birth of an ocean. The process of ocean formation is a slow and drawn-out affair, taking millions of years to unfold. In the case of the East African Rift, we are still in the early stages of this process. However, there are already tantalizing glimpses of what the future holds. One of the most striking signs of the impending separation is the Afar Depression in Ethiopia. Here, the Earth's crust has thinned to such an extent that it is only 20 kilometers thick, compared to an average thickness of 40 kilometers. This thin crust is highly vulnerable to volcanic activity, and the Afar Depression is home to a number of active volcanoes, including Erta Ale, famed for its persistent lava lake. As the rift widens, the Afar Depression will continue to sink, eventually dropping below sea level. The Red Sea will then flood in, creating a narrow inland sea. Over time, this sea will expand southward, eventually joining up with the Indian Ocean. A future seascape. The formation of a new ocean in Africa will have a profound impact on the continent's geography. The East African Rift will eventually become a vast waterway, splitting the continent in two. The land to the east of the rift, including Somalia and parts of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania, will form a new, smaller continent, sometimes referred to as the Somali Plate. This new continent will be geologically distinct from the rest of Africa, with its own unique flora and fauna. It will be a land shaped by volcanic activity, with towering volcanoes, fertile volcanic soils, and perhaps even new islands rising from the sea. The creation of a new ocean will also have a significant impact on global weather patterns. The presence of a large body of water will alter air currents and precipitation patterns, potentially leading to changes in climate across Africa and beyond. The impact of a changing landscape. The geological changes underway in Africa are not merely a scientific curiosity. They have real-world implications for the millions of people who live in the region. The East African Rift is a seismically active zone, prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. These natural disasters can have devastating consequences, as seen in the recent past with the earthquakes in Haiti and Japan. As the rift widens, the risk of such events is likely to increase. The African continent and the world need to be prepared for the potential impact of these geological changes. Early warning systems for earthquakes and volcanoes will be crucial, as will disaster preparedness and response plans, but the formation of a new ocean also presents opportunities. The geothermal energy potential of the East African Rift is enormous. This clean and sustainable energy source could power millions of homes and businesses, boosting economic development in the region. The new ocean will also open up new shipping routes and fishing grounds, creating economic opportunities for coastal communities. The geological marvel unfolding in Africa is a reminder of the power of nature and the need for humanity to adapt and thrive in the face of change.